Hey guys, what's going on? So I thought I would go ahead and go over the new capturable Astromon Snowee, as people are getting more and more of them now. And the event, I guess, is a little over half over or whatnot. But before we get into that, I just want to give a little shout out to Channel 13, my new home channel now. I hope everyone there is okay with that. But they seem like really cool people. So come on over whenever you want to. I'm usually lurking here, and if I notice someone's saying something or calling me or something, I'll say hi. So yeah, definitely feel free. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get on to the Snowee review. This honestly won't be a very long video because Snowee only has one element, and that's water, so we really only have to go over the one. As you can see, I recently got mine to Evo 3, so I decided we're going to go ahead and check it out together here. So it's a taunter and a sapper. Honestly has a pretty decent chance at taunt there, 80% chance. She is a tank, so taunt is fine for this typing. The thing is, we already have Hermit, which is an AoE taunter, and also Pebble, which is an AoE taunter. Those were both natural 4 stars and free to get as well, since they were guardians. But it is on the 3-star skill, so that might make a difference. 5-star skill is a 60% chance, 2 types of sap for 1 turn. So it's not as good as Water Yuki's, for example, because she has 2 types, 2 turns. But it's still an okay sap. For it only being 1 turn, the chance is kind of low. All around, it's a decent unit. I would say it's a really good unit for lower level players. It's basically solid all around, nothing too spectacular. But it's definitely not a bad unit, I would say. Taunt and Sap are both useful skills if you build her really tanky. So gem-wise, I'd build her as a tank is usually built, and I'd go HP defense for her. The set can really be anything. It can be a broken set to get better gems. It can be more HP, more defense, or the resist set. So if you're going for a set, I'd probably go for the resist set, because taunters need more resist than your average Astromon, because they'll be getting hit more often on average. Well, actually, while we're here, we can go ahead and go over Water Yuki, Water Leo, and Water Hana as well. Since if you do happen to get an Evo 3 Snowee and you would have an Evo 2 of any of these guys, which unfortunately I don't, you can summon their Evo 3 form. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with Water Yuki. This is the one I would recommend going for if you have a choice. I believe it's the best water sapper there is, having sap on both skills, 60% chance. 3-star skill is 2 saps for 1 turn, and 5-star skill is AoE sap, 2 types, 2 turns. So a really powerful sapper all around. And you know, people say sap isn't useful in the game, and that may be true for like dragons and such, but you guys still have to understand that this is a pretty new game, and in-game will always be changing with updates. Maybe there will be golems harder than B10 dragon, which can be sapped and may need to be sapped, or that may be the best strategy, etc, etc. So I think sap will never not be useful. It's still useful now, especially for the very tanky Starstone guys, like the Dark Starstone guy. He has so much HP, so sap really comes in handy there. That's basically all there is to say about Yukina. I would gym her HP defense, as she is a tank and should survive while dealing most of her damage with sap damage anyway, not attack power damage. I would definitely recommend the 2 HPs. The 3rd gem is more up to preference. If you want her to do a bit more damage, swap out the defense with an attack, or if you want her to get debuffed less, give her a resist gem. Basically, just the 2 HP gems are really mandatory in my opinion. The 3rd one is more up to what you want. Now we're checking out Water Leo. I actually would have an Evo 1 Water Leo, but I don't think I'm going to go for it, since I'd probably have to spend 2 gleams on him and then use another Leo to get him to Evo 3. But looking at his skills, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Was never a fan of Recovery Down or Fatigue, which he happens to have both of. I mean, I can't say too much about Recovery Down. In all honesty, I haven't used it ever. I haven't really tested with it. As far as I know, it cuts healing in half. But I mean, like in Astromon League, there aren't really that many healers in there. And in bosses, I'm not totally sure if bosses can even be inflicted with it. I would think they can, but I'm not sure. I know they can be inflicted with attack down and defense down. Not sure about recovery, but even if they could, there's also not that many bosses that heal themselves. Then we have Fatigue, which cannot be applied on bosses, and I think this is probably the worst skill in the game, probably. It might be okay for Astromon League, but then also Recovery Down 60% 1 turn, Fatigue 60% 2 turns, so not very high chances, and then this is only for 1 turn, the Recovery Down, so the skills are pretty horrible, and I don't think I'd want to even invest the resources in raising him unless he gets a big change. So how I'd probably gym him is HP attack, just because if you look over at his stats, he has way higher natural attack than defense, 1500 here to 1100 defense, and a lot of HP. So, I mean, I don't recommend going for him, like, at all, but if you're absolutely set on it, then that's the gym set I would recommend. He'd be able to do a bit of damage and also be survivable enough. So the last 4-star choice is Hana. She's a healer. The main thing about her is her resilience buff at 5-star. She has a tiny sap here, 60% 1 sap 1 turn. So probably one of the weakest saps, but it is just the 3-star skill, and that's not really what makes Hana anyway. The 5-star skill is very interesting though. Depending on how much damage your units are taking with this buff, they will regain their SP. My girlfriend actually Evo 3'd the Hana and let me see what's going on with the resilience buff, because I've never really seen it in action, and they actually recover a lot of SP, even taking a little amount of damage. So I'd say this resilience buff is very powerful. It's a 100% chance, of course, because it's self-applied to your allies and whatnot, and it's for 3 turns, so I'd say this is a very powerful buff. She may not be that great in Astromon League because you have to get the active skill first, so maybe in a very tanky team it would be good, but otherwise I can't really see it helping, because getting the active bar, especially when she doesn't have anything that fills that up faster, probably won't work unless you have a lot of survivability in your team. But I can imagine for pretty much everything else, she would be really good in harder content, where you are also taking tanky teams, you can heal them up really well, and then have everyone's actives going off way faster, depending on who's getting attacked and by how much. So if you don't have a Yuki and you do have a Hana, I would definitely recommend going for her, as she does seem very interesting. How I would gym her, obviously she is a recovery type, she's a healer. I would give her at least 1 recovery gym. As far as I know, recovery still affects how much SP bar is filled per blue orb, so that would also be very important for a healer to get the active off quickly. To be honest, I'm not too experienced with healers, especially burst healers like this, so I'm not totally confident if you should go 1 or 2 recovery gems. Personally, I would go 1 recovery, an HP, and probably a defense. The defense is also a little bit iffy. I'm not sure if I'd rather go another HP. I'm still thinking about those defense down changes that happened in the last update. But if you can get her recovery really high, it won't matter all that much how high her HP is, since she might be able to heal it anyway. But I definitely recommend 1 recovery and 1 HP. The third one I'm not too sure about. The set can be pretty much anything. She will need resist, as you definitely do not want your healers stunned or petrified or sleeping or any of those debuffs. So you may actually want to consider having the 3rd spot a resist gem, just to make sure it's high enough so she doesn't get CC'd or debuffed. That's just a thought. If not, then I would really recommend the conviction set to get that extra resist, as well as high resist substats as you can get. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Personally, I'd recommend going for Yuki first, and if you don't have Yuki, go for Hana, and if you don't have Hana, keep Snowee. Yeah, of course, I only have the Leo. Maybe, who knows, there's like a week left, maybe I can summon one using... I'll do a summon video like right before the event ends, and we'll see, who knows. Maybe I'll get either or. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for today. Have you already fused to get one of them? If so, which one? Tell me down in the comments below. Would also appreciate a like if you did happen to enjoy the video. Thanks guys, as always, for watching, and until next time.